Here's a fun fact. The Avs are now 3-1 in 2024 despite not having a single game with a save percentage above 900. Avs win over the Boston Bruins 4-3 in the shootout. Look, are there saves that you want Georgiev to make in this game that he doesn't? Absolutely. And yes, he does post an .885 save percentage, which is not good enough. But at the same time, he plays fantastic in overtime and doesn't give up a single goal in the shootout. It was better from Georgiev tonight. Not great, but good enough. The Colorado team in front of him was pretty darn great for most of the night. They outshot Boston in every period but overtime. They really controlled the vast majority of play. And it wasn't perfect. There were a few spots where they gave up some high danger chances. They took some penalties they probably didn't need to, but they really played quite well. So it will come as no surprise to you that Boston scores first. A standard power play entry from Boston here, nothing special here. This comes to Marchand on the far side, and he does do one circle to reset the play and give himself a little bit of space, as Val now has to respect the man at the top of the ice as well as Marchand. Marchand walks in here, doesn't give too much space. This is beyond the top of the circle where he lets this shot go. It's a wrister. Marchand's a good shooter, but it's not an unbelievable shot, and Georgiev just never sees it, and it goes in. You already know what I'm about to say about that goal. We've already covered it. Let's just move on, okay? The good news is the Avs are able to get that goal back later in the first. As the Avs gain the entry here and get fully set up, I do think the Avs are a little bit flat-footed during this, but their passing is quick and crisp. They're moving the puck into new locations. They're forcing Boston to loop, to change, to take different guys. They're bouncing all over the place. This is going to stretch defenses out when you move this puck this quickly and this effectively. That eventually leads to a great pass between the legs for McKinnon. Rantanen, with his classic choke-up bunt on the back door, is able to get this one to go. So there's one goal from your best players. Check that off the list. So you get into the second period, and no, I'm not kidding when I say this. For the first time in the year 2024, the Avs have the lead in regulation. It's a pretty routine play. Boston going back, collecting a puck, and they do so. This should be an easy, safe out on this one. But LOC just sticks with the play, just forces pressure onto Shattenkirk, and this forces Shattenkirk to pull away from him instead of going directly back into his zone or shielding him and going around the outside. Shattenkirk turns back into Pavel Zacha, who just happens to be right behind him. Shattenkirk doesn't recognize it. They both just skate into each other, creating chaos that LOC is able to take advantage of. Just picks up a puck, gets away from them in clean all alone, and does a great job to go forehand high glove on Swayman. Depth goal checked off the list. LOC continues to be a stable presence in Colorado's lineup no matter what else is going on. If they have guys out sick, if they have guys called up, you can throw LOC anywhere, and yeah, there are some skill limitations at the very top there, but he's going to give you quality play, and every so often, he'll give you a goal like this one. By the end of the second period, shots were 23-14. The Avs really just don't give Boston very much, and despite an expected goals for rate of just .61 at 5-on-5 through both of the first two periods, Boston is able to tie it. Not a ton to this play. Boston dumps the puck in deep. The Avs are really marked up pretty well. You have Girard with the puck carrier, Malinski taking his man here, McDermott with the man in the slot area, and then your two high forwards for the defenseman. As this comes around the net, McDermott turns to face his man right as he cuts to the backside. Just gets caught a little bit here as this puck comes out, bounces off Georgiev and through to the far side. The Avs are just not able to dig out this rebound. It is Beecher that's first to this puck. Georgiev really should be across and safe here. If he locks it up, if he holds his body tight together, this doesn't slip through him, but that is exactly what happens. Does Curtis McDermott get beat in coverage in front there? Yeah, definitely. But you can even see it with Georgiev's reaction breaking his stick after that goal. He knows that thing needs to be stopped. I've said this before in these videos. The Avalanche are a good enough team that they can outscore their problems on a regular basis. Even against other very good teams, they can outscore some of their problems. But when you play this well, the Avs give up just 22 shots in regulation to Boston. You gotta reward that team with giving up a few less goals. A problem for another day, though, as this game is now tied, and the Avs need to get that lead back. You've already checked off your stars and your depth, so it's time for a defensive goal. A clean face-off win here for Ryjo. He's going to get rewarded. Malinski collects the puck at the blue line, slides to the middle of the ice, and then you see the little shimmy. A lot more players are starting to do this now. They used to be just a Cale Makar thing. And while it's not quite to that level, Malinski does a good enough job to open up a shooting lane for himself and let this puck go. There really isn't a ton of screening going on in front of Swayman here. There's some bodies up in the slot that do make this a little bit tougher to see. It's probably not a great goal to give up, but give credit to Malinski for getting it on net. Sam Makar, they call him. Malinski just seems to have that shiftiness to his game. He's got that stutter step at the blue line. He has that ability to find shooting lanes. Is that a great goal for Swayman to give up? No, definitely not. But Sam Malinski does have to create that play for Swayman to make that mistake. So the Avs complete their perfect trifecta. The depth goal, the Stars goal, the defensive goal. This should be winning you hockey games. If you can get those 3 goals on a regular basis, you should win. But that just has not been enough for the Avs for far too much of this season. Despite quality play, it's been a race to 4 for too many nights. And this game is no different. As the Avs get into the third period, they get beat on 1 play for it to get tied. When the chips are down, Boston really did do a good job of cycling on Colorado. They were able to make a lot work deep in the zone off of the boards, creating here. And the problem is very similar to the second goal. This time it's McKinnon in the middle of the ice. Marchand is the one going to the back post here. McKinnon initially takes a step with him and has him defended, but then just kind of slows down and gives up on the play. Now, to be fair, this is well defended from Colorado. That puck is in midair at about knee height coming through the slot area. It's really hard for a hockey player to do something with that. Marchand does a great job of putting his body in front of the puck to get anything he can on it, and it kicks off of his leg and into the net. I honestly don't even put that much blame on anyone for this goal. Sure, you would like McKinnon's defensive coverage to be a bit better, but that's a puck flying through midair that bounces off of a guy's knee and into the net. Hard to blame anyone too much on that one. That's why you need the easy ones earlier in the game to get saved. I think the one real disappointing thing about the Avs skaters in this game were the power play opportunities they got late in the third period. They had multiple opportunities to close this game out in regulation, and they failed to do so. They would ultimately go on to win the game, so it's whatever, but boy, this team just makes life so hard on itself as often as it can. Overtime was a horror show. The initial 3 minutes was not really a whole lot of anything from anyone, but then the Avs take a penalty and have to kill nearly a full 2 minutes of 4-on-3. And they managed to do so, largely thanks to Georgiev and Cale Makar. Again, it was not a perfect night for Georgiev, but when the chips were down, he showed up for Colorado. He gets the game to the shootout, and then in the shootout, he stops all 3 shooters he faces. One better than the guy on the other side of the ice. For the Avs side of things, McKinnon and Rantanen aren't able to solve Swayman in the shootout, but the final shooter, Val Nichushkin, does. As always, I hate breaking down shootouts because there's just not a ton of stuff here. None of this matters. None of this at all matters. Until right about here, none of that walking in stuff means anything. From here, Val doesn't even do a ton. He does a little bit of the chop with the puck, but very clearly sets himself up on the forehand side. There's not really a ton of options. He can either try this wrist shot wherever he feels he has a hole, or he can try the backhand tuck on that short side, which is going to be pretty tough given how set up he is to go to that side. Yes, he could also come in close and try and turn the legs and go in on that far side, try to come across the goalie's face, but Nichushkin is just going to keep this one simple. He picks his spot, he shoots, and Swayman gets beat. That was fun. Yeah, there are some imperfections in Colorado's game, but every hockey team has imperfections. And those were 2 good teams going at each other. One on the underlyings that the Avs dominated, probably deserved to win this game a whole lot easier than they did. And 2, when you keep games close, you have that excitement. Just a great hockey game to watch. One of the funnest ones this year for Colorado. This is what playing good teams at the top of the league is like. Sure, the Avs have a loss to Florida, but they also beat Boston. Sure, the Avs have some losses to Winnipeg, but they've also beat Dallas twice. Good competitive teams can take games off of each other, and the Avs get a chance to prove it again against Vegas tomorrow. If you keep winning, I guess I don't care if the Avs keep posting sub-900 save percentages. If it works and it's consistent, you take it. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. Head on over to thednvr.com for all of our coverage. I am Rudo, and Georgiev has got to have some confidence from that shootout, right?